getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Hey, what's good? Happy Monday, good afternoon, and welcome. This is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score, 100.7 The Score mobile app, and yours on television, Fox 34 News Now, YouTube, Fire Stick, Roku, Apple TV, a lot of ways to take us in, however you're doing so. Thanks for choosing to make us part of your Monday afternoon. Alongside Trent Hilliard, I'm Chois Woodman. We got Ben Portman across the way taking care of us. You can also join us. If you got thoughts, comments, questions, bring those all in. Yates Flooring Center chat line through that 100.7 The Score mobile app. Take the app anywhere with you, even listen in out in Looneyville, Texas. We'll get into an array of topics today. As usual, we'll I'm sure, mention Brendan Sorsby's name at some point. We'll get into that. We'll talk a little 24-team playoff. You know, that's a thing that is getting some backlash out there, but also some support in the places it seems to be needing support. Hey, Tech Baseball won a series.
Hey, how about that?
Wow, that felt like it's been forever, and it has.
Since March.
Mid-March. I think the 21st was the last series you won six
Arizona
of them ago.
series.
Yeah. So beat BYU this weekend. Adventurous still to get to that point. Josh Young keeps tearing the cover off the baseball, so that's good. That's probably not the right way to describe it. He keeps hitting the ball a ton. I mean, he's not.
His power has come up a little bit.
There's been some home runs and some doubles, but I mean, just the batting average is just crazy. Softball gets an 11 seed, so there's that. I said some stupid stuff on the radio last week that I thought that people could use their brain in a NCAA committee and look and say that's clearly one of the best teams in the country, so we'll put them as such. Not only do they not just put them at the 9 spot, they drop them 2 more spots even so, an 11 seed. So I hope they play motivated for that spot.
You know, once you didn't get one of the top 8, I was fine with drop a little bit more because that 9 seed, if you do get around to it, you're going to hit that 1 seed, and now it's like, okay, just drop it.
Well.
Now we'll hit those mid seeds, and there's a higher probability or possibility, not probability,
sure,
of an upset and facing someone else in the World Series if you get to that spot.
If you get to that spot, I mean, it didn't look good against Arizona State, but you've had a few slip-ups this year. You still lost 5 games the whole year. 5 of them.
Well, the whole thing is this team to me is built for this run.
Yeah.
Where now they're going to have to lose twice. Whether that's twice in the 4-game format that you're going to have this weekend, whether it's twice in a 2 out of 3 situation, or when you get back into the College World Series and it's twice in the 4-game format or the 2 out of 3 in the championship.
Right.
And with the pitching this team has, we haven't lost twice. We'll lose a game, which happens in sports. And particularly in your baseball, softball situations, and
sure,
and then we bounce back because we have sustainability with this team, and so this is a team built just for this type of stuff. We added the extra pitching, so we don't have to have just the one pitcher that you rely on as much as we did last year. And so I feel good about this team's opportunity to make another great run at the national championship like we did last year. Doesn't mean it'll happen, but I think that we're built, and it's a lot easier than just those one game things where, hey, somebody was on and they shut you down and you started feeling the pressure and all that type of stuff. Come beat us twice. Let's see. Nobody's done it yet.
I don't disagree. I think that this is a team that is built for the postseason and built to pile some wins together. I think it was telling. I'm very interested when I watch these reactions to see if you get any true reactions on the selection show reveals. I remember the men's tournament, the basketball tournament. Grant McCaslin had there's a little tick whenever he saw what text draw was, and then he gets into the clapping. Jerry Glasgow and Victoria Valdez. I mean, Valdez is just sitting there with her hand in her chin in her hand, never moves when Tech's name is mentioned. Jerry Glasgow never claps. The rest of everybody is doing a golf clap.
Exactly.
This was a team that was not pleased with where they're
very slighted.
They're slotted.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe Florida loses in theirs and you end up hosting a super regional here, but I think you'll have a motivated team nonetheless. So,
one of the interesting quotes, and I won't be able to quote it word for word, but Glasgow said about it, said, "That's fine. We'll go on the road," and and I thought that was interesting because he usually doesn't. He's a game by game, but that was already
ready to look ahead.
Already saying, we're going to take care of business this weekend. So I thought that was interesting. Wasn't the typical coach speak, but Glasgow's not typical coach either.
No, he's not. He's not. He's a confident guy, and he's got a reason for confidence with this particular group. So.
Just Google him.
Well, it may not be him that said that, but
no.
It could be. They could fall in line with each other. Yeah. We'll get into all sorts of stuff. We'll talk some softball. I'll tell you why the committee's decision to put Tech 11 doesn't just screw the Red Raiders. It messes other teams around as well. I've got a topics special for Trent Hilliard. That's the former basketball coach. It still feels weird to say former because it's not.
No, not very far removed.
Yeah, it's been pretty recent. But a lot of high schools or I guess a lot of states are adopting a new rule in high school basketball. Texas is not there yet, but we'll tell you what that is. And get to plenty of your thoughts, your comments, your reactions from the weekend on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Lots to dive into.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It's a Monday afternoon, the Bottom Line. 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Chois Woodman and Trent Hilliard with you today. Y'all keep the thoughts and comments coming in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Trent, you've been a basketball coach at the high school level for a few years.
For just a little while.
Quite a bit of time, actually. Quite a few states up to this point have adopted a shot clock. And I know there's logistics that go into shot clock and operating a shot clock and getting it right. And I know that's a concern for a lot. Cost and implementation, part of it. But quite a few states have already adopted a shot clock. There are several that have already basically said, okay, you have this long to get a shot clock implemented. Next season, Wyoming, Colorado, Oklahoma, Illinois, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida, North Carolina, and West Virginia all are adopting a shot clock. A lot are going to it. The following year, New Jersey and Kentucky are going to it, and Pennsylvania is slotted for 28-29 season. So there are still about 15 states or so that will not have a shot clock, but it's becoming the irregularity in high school basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Used to, that wasn't the case. Texas, New Mexico, Mississippi, Missouri, Iowa, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Virginia, and some New England states don't have it. What is keeping the state of Texas from committing to a shot clock in high school basketball?
I think number one, which said a lot of it becomes expense, not just installing the shot clock, but now you've got to have somebody run the table and run the shot clock that you're paying. And then you get into, okay, you're just doing it for varsity games. Is it sub-varsity? Is it freshman?
Sure.
Do you go into middle school? You know, where does it stop? If this is, you know, hey, we're prepping for the next level, and hey, we do this during the summers and all that type of stuff. So there's just lots of different layers to it.
Fair.
And I think, you know, the purity of the game, the ability at the high school level, you're not recruiting. Here's who you have from year to year. And so I think there's a lot of opposition of
most aren't recruiting.
Right, that's true.
Just kidding.
That's true.
Just kidding.
So you've got, you know, how are you to win if you don't have the most talented team? Maybe you've got to slow the game down and
Sure.
make the other team work and do some of that aspect. So so that part of it, I think you've got a lot of coaches that are against it. If Texas implements it, when Texas, because it'll happen
Eventually, yeah.
I think it will probably be just initially we're just going to do this at the 6A and 5A level. I think they'll just start it at those two, and go and that kind of negates some of your small school expenses and finding somebody to run it and all those type of things, those arguments, because now you're dealing with schools that are much larger, faculties that are much larger, districts, you know, that have more facilities and things. So I think it'll be, and I think it'll happen, you know, within I would guess probably about the next 6 years. You know, that Texas will move to it because everything's just moving that way.
It does seem like that. I mean, I just a few games a year, or if that, really a couple of games a year. A lot of times playoffs against El Paso is where it makes you pull your hair out because they just want to do that. They want to limit the number of possessions, but it is you're taking advantage of the rules that are there, and it is a strategic thing that you're talking about. So I understand both sides of it, but I'm with you. I do think it eventually.
I don't think it's made the game better. You know, and you see it at the college level that, you know, they work it down, they get down, it's 10 seconds left, and here comes a ball screen and a high ball screen, and we're going to go pick and roll and lift on the backside, and then we throw up a bad shot because the shot clock's running out. And so I don't think the game's any better. I don't think you need it most of the time. You know, our boys tournament out at Friendship actually had a shot clock that they did on a temporary thing, and it's probably 8 years ago. I think it was before COVID. And I think out of all the possessions, there were like 8 possessions out of thousands that would have been a shot clock violation, you know, and they charted all and did all that. And it was like very, very few that actually, you know, came into play on something like that. So sure. I don't think it gets more into, you know, those occasional games where somebody's going to dribble at half court and the other team's saying, fine, that's it. And then you run off 3 minutes, and nobody paid to see that. Nobody wants to play that way, even the team that's delaying.
That's doing it.
You know, I mean, so everybody just wants to go and play. And so, yeah, that aspect of it makes everybody yell and scream for the shot clock. You know, I would love to see them just say, okay, we're going to implement it the last 4 minutes of the game.
Okay.
You know, okay, let's have to play. Let's do some things. You know, it's kind of like the the summer tournament with the different scoring, where once you hit the score mark, then you've got to score 10 more points.
Right.
I can't even think of what it's called now.
Elam ending?
Elam, there you go. Where you're playing till the very end, and so it means something. So, if you implement it at the last, but again, now you have to have the shot clock, you have to have somebody to run it. But how many times do we see, in college that, did the ball hit the rim? Did we reset it? What are the rules going to be?
Yeah,
I don't think you're going to get into, we'll reset it to 20, and then sometimes it goes to 30. Probably at the high school level, mostly it's 40.
Reset.
And it's going to be 40 seconds, 45 second shot clock or something like that. It's not going to be as quick of a deal. So, you eliminate some of that, but man, that becomes a whole mess of, did it hit it? Did it hit? We got to stop. We didn't get the shot clock reset, and there's, because officials will do that now. They'll stop. We didn't start the clock, so we stop it because they start it 3 seconds later. Just play it.
Yeah.
By the time you stop it and you throw the ball out of bounds and do all that and get it reset, the 3 seconds didn't matter, especially because there's not a shot clock. So, some of that I don't understand, but it's, would make life much more difficult for multiple people.
Yep. Let's see. President Aggie says Choice is a big fan of Captain Planet. I vaguely remember what you're talking about, but I think that was still a little before me. 45 seconds on the shot clock meets all criteria. Yeah, I would guess that's where you get to win. And I'm with you. It's a win, but it's just a matter of when. I don't know how long it is till you get there, but it feels like it is imminent to an extent. Y'all continue to bring in any thoughts, comments, questions you may have on the Yates Flooring Center chat line through that 100.7 The Score mobile app. So Tech baseball wins over the weekend, 2 out of 3. You getting your hopes up for the postseason? To make a postseason run?
I feel like we're going to make it now.
That's the reality of it. You've put yourself in position where Arizona, you've got the tiebreaker over Arizona, who's the team directly behind you. You've got a 1-game lead on them.
Right.
So basically, if you win 1 game in Cincinnati, you've kind of locked up your spot.
Yeah.
Right? Is my math correct on that?
Well, they would have to sweep.
Yeah,
they would have to sweep then to beat you, and
So
and it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
One game would make you feel really good. 2 games locks your spot in.
Right.
That's
right.
That'd be. And I don't think it's crazy to think you could win 2 games in Cincinnati if you keep playing.
Here you go again.
No, just if you keep playing offense the way you have. You could score with anybody when this offense is at its peak. I mean, you lead the country in hits and doubles and a few different categories, but
yeah,
if
the offense was that good, we would have a better than the hanging around 500.
It disappeared for a better part of the month, so that hurt pretty bad. Yes, I am an optimist by nature.
When will you learn?
No shame in that.
Never.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Happy to be part of your Monday afternoon. This is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score. 100.7 The Score mobile app. Powered by Happy State Bank. He's Trent Hilliard. I'm Chois Woodman. Y'all continue to pour in any thoughts, comments, questions you have. We welcome them on the Yates Flooring Center chat line through that 100.7 The Score mobile app. Trent, did you know 100.7 The Score in the home zone have already given away over $80,000 locally, and now we're doing it again?
Awesome.
We're giving one local winner $10,000 this time around. Simply listen weekdays throughout the day for the daily winning word. When you hear it, head to doubletsportsnetwork.com and enter it. You can only enter once per day, but the more days you enter, the more chances you'll have of winning the $10,000 grand prize. Then get ready as 100.7 The Score and the home zone will come together live on Friday, June 26th at King Louis Sports Lounge to award the one local winner $10,000 in cash. Making a difference, one winner at a time. You could be next with the Home Zone, making your house a home, and 100.7 The Score. All right, today's word on this Monday, May the 11th, is Bailey. Bailey. Wonder where that came from. Bailey. Bailey, go type that in at doubleTSportsNetwork.com for your chance to win. We're not going to tell you when we're doing this either. Like, it's going to be random times throughout our shows. So this isn't a listen at this time type of thing. You got to be listening throughout the day for more chances to win. So
I guess I've now made myself ineligible probably to win the prize.
I won't tell anybody.
Me in here.
You shouldn't have said anything out loud. You could have still won it. You could have been like Hint Schmielder. Go in like Bobby Valentine style into disguise.
Yeah.
Try to win it.
Just put on my glasses and big nose and mustache.
Yeah. Win it on June 26th. You could have just done that. You should still try it out. See if it works. There you go. So see if it still works.
Bailey.
Or have your wife just go, I have no relation. I'll divorce him for $10,000. Come on. So that's how that works. All right. Continue to bring in those thoughts and comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line through the 100.7 The Score mobile app. You've been dubbed as the fake Chris Snead at times.
I have.
So since you're the fake Chris Snead, I want to get your take on officiating in general. The UFL did something over the weekend. I'm not going to sit here and act like I watch UFL games, but this popped up on the timeline. The UFL did something over the weekend that I thought was very interesting. They have been notorious for giving extra access to officials. Like I believe they, when they're discussing a penalty or whatever, you can hear. They'll let you in on those conversations. Okay. At least when there's a review, you can definitely hear the review there with the officials and the thinking on it. I like the transparency there.
Oh, yeah.
The UFL took it a step further, and they conducted a sideline interview with a ref after a questionable call during the game. So field judge Gabriel De Leon was interviewed by Fox's Brock Hurd after the ref made a decision not to call pass interference, though it could have been called. However, this unique access allowed De Leon to give his stance on the play in real time directly to fans watching at home. Is this a good idea or a bad idea for fans?
No, I think it's a great idea.
Like even that, where you're interviewing a guy,
I don't know.
Not during a play. This is
right. In between, like after they've done the review or whatever. Mm-hmm. Hey, what'd you see? It definitely calmed everybody down to go, well, this happened, they didn't have this, and it helped everybody explain that maybe this guy's looking at the other official as he sees it because he thinks he saw something, but his angle and the other officials, giving him a no, and so that's the he was reaching for his flag and then put it back. Well, he's checking to see from that stuff. So yeah, the more transparency we can have on those type of things, they're still going to get it wrong. I mean, my goodness, in that Cubs Rangers game. That first score that Josh, he scores, but they go back and review, and they, oh no, he was safe. And you look at it and go, no, he's clearly out.
There's a tag there.
He's clearly tagged out right there.
Don't let your Cubs fan hang out
maybe
here.
My Cubs bias was getting a little bit, but no, he was clearly out on that one. And I mean, it probably didn't matter. I don't know. First score of a game always matters, But yeah, so you go, how in the world do they review it, get these same angles that we're seeing, and still miss something like that? That's more baffling than a guy missing it in real time to me. That's why they have the review process, because they're not going to get everything right. And some things, you can't review everything. But
that's where I think we need the transparency more. We have these, because at least in the, you have a central location for the professional sports at this point. You still have a I guess we do have a central location in college football, but there's still a review official up there, a replay official up there. He hides out in a booth. Every single other official on the field, you can point a finger at.
Yeah.
This guy up here, he can decide or choose what he wants without any sort of fan repercussions. Or I'm not saying that you need that kind of accountability, but I think there's an extra layer to it. And I do think that's where we need more transparency, specifically in college football. But I would love it across the board. If you can let us in on those conversations, we don't have to think you're right, but we can at least know the line of thinking.
Well, I think it was
on how you arrived at that conclusion.
Was it ACC football that had that?
Yes, I think they did.
Where they went in and they showed you the review process and the guys sitting in front of the screens.
Yeah,
and
they did that this year, right?
In the booth, yeah.
I think they did.
And that just to see the explanation, and that's what they've got the official, on the NFL and sometimes on the college that they go to. But those guys are so company line guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're very seldom disagreeing with the officials on the field or whatever. And
That's
it's
rare.
like you've blown what we were wanting to really get into it. And say, no, here's the rule. They've got to enforce this, and then call them out if they're wrong. But yeah, when they gave that kind of transparent look back behind the scenes in the ACC. In the review process, I thought that was great. And like I said, the more that we can just see what's going on and what they're thinking, then you go, okay. I think it helps temper things a lot from the fan watching at home for sure.
I think when you, if you're approaching this as college football or NFL or whatever, you say, okay, where's the bad in it? And I don't know that there is a bad side to doing that.
Right.
I don't think you're making anybody more angry. If anything, it's alleviating some of that. I don't think it's going to, unless there's something nefarious going on, which needs to be exposed anyway.
Which is what people think when you're hiding something.
Right. That's what the layer it takes away. Mm-hmm. Is it? You can sit there and think, okay, that guy's wrong, but you don't think, oh, well, I got it out for my team. That sort of thing. So I think we need this specifically. I'm looking through a college football lens, but specifically in college football across the board where there's just more transparency. I'm not saying we need to put a ref at the podium after every single game, though there's some arguments to that to answer for certain things. But I do think just the straight-up transparency would be not only good for fans, but it'd be fascinating to hear. And I think it would be educating for a lot of fans that don't necessarily know some particular rules, too, where you're like, man, they screwed that up. And then you find out, well, okay, he was right. That's why he's calling it this way. So
the biggest thing to me is when they throw the flag and then they pick it up and say there was no penalty on the play. It's like, you clearly saw a penalty because you threw your flag.
Yeah,
and
that would be like if they.
What are you doing here?
If they publicize the inter-mic conversations between the officials that go on, that would actually be
you go, okay, what was it that you got overruled that they said no? He clearly had hands inside, so it wasn't a hold or whatever it was that you're going to do. Then you can kind of go, okay, I can live with that. So.
Overall, this is just transparency on steroids. I really love the idea
That's
that
what we need.
UFL
Transparency.
Add the inter-mic conversations too, and then you really got them.
Get everything. What are they hiding?
Trent's never had any problems with officials, though.
Never.
Well, I mean, compared to the boys' counterpart at Friendship, you look pretty squeaky clean. But
I went like last 4 or 5 years without getting a technical.
Really?
Yeah.
God, you should have at least got one in the last year.
I know. I was a good boy.
Have a good day, Trent.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It is a Monday afternoon. Bottom Line on 100.7 Score and the 100.7 Score mobile app. Upon further review, the story does get worse. Vanderbilt lost. They lost 8-7 in 10 innings. That would have been a home run that made it 9-7. Since then, there's been several things posted and tweeted and that sort of thing. They showed the ball that they believe to be the home run ball with a big old mud spot, which would not have happened on the field. The Vanderbilt pitchers, the bullpen says they saw it clear the fence. So that's a rough one. So initially they called, after reading a little more, they called a home run on the field. The umps got together and decided to make it a book rule double.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the ump says ground rule double on the microphone, Jamie. So he said that. But they call it a book rule double on the field, and then they go to review and say, we can't change our call. Oof. That's a tough way to lose a game.
Sure is.
Man, can you imagine if you're Vandy? That would not be fun. This texture, this is Shane, says, Choice, you think that ball hit by Friendship was a home run Friday, or did you have an angle to see? Home plate umpire signaled home run, but the guy down the line called it foul. Home plate ump was right on the line and had a better view, in my opinion. Yeah, my opinion, too. I mean, they've got better view than me, but it sure looked like it crossed. It was one of those right down the line, right behind the pole.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, I can't tell for sure, but I thought it was a home run. Fortunate it wasn't like that situation at Vanderbilt and didn't cost anybody a game. But it did cost someone a 3-run home run. Jamie, the Red Raider baseball team hit some dingers over the weekend.
Got a few.
They, can we say the offense is back? Is that all right? Say, because it sure felt like the offense was.
It was on Saturday.
Was better.
What you only had scored 5 runs combined through the first 2 games.
I guess so. 15 leaves a lasting impression.
It sure does. Mm-hmm.
The first game, man, you couldn't have had more different games from the first one to the last one.
To the last, yeah.
You had a true, good old-fashioned pitcher's duel where it felt like you're hanging on every pitch type of situation on Thursday, if you want to say Friday. And then Saturday, it is teeing off on everything. So I don't know if you can feel like the offense is all the way back or not, but you got 2 wins, and that is a welcome sight after going a month and a half without winning a Big 12 series.
Yeah, no question. And I think that the thing about Saturday that just jumps out at you is in the stretch where you have struggled, it didn't feel like your offense had always battled. And it felt like at times when they would do some good things and then you get a lead and then you would give up the lead, the offense would just kind of go into a shell. And this was a back and forth game, and your offense never went into any kind of shell. They just kept putting pressure on BYU's pitching staff, no matter who was out there. And just until you got to the point where you started to feel like, okay, you have a chance here now to get it done. And you had some guys come in on the mound and do some good work there at the end that gave you a chance. But, it was just nice to see the offense continue to battle. And that really started from the first inning. I thought a really, really key at-bat was the second hitter of the game for the Red Raiders, and Tracer Lopez, who was down 0-2 and worked a walk. And that started that 3-run rally for the Red Raiders. It felt like they really battled well in that contest on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that what I do like about this team, and people can ho-hum it or whatever, I do like that there's fight. There's obviously only one route to the postseason at this point, and you haven't given up on that route, so that's good. And it's through the Big 12 tournament and winning the Big 12 tournament. But there was a point in the season where it felt like only a couple of guys were really putting together good at-bats, battling for you at least offensively. Lopez being one of those guys, Hughes been another. But it does feel like you've kind of got a rejuvenation to this team.
Yeah, Schaus and Quinton are.
Right.
Kyler Thompson's having his moments. Lincoln Garcia.
Obviously, too late to do anything beyond the Big 12 tournament, but you still got to get there. and you've won 4 out of 5 games, so at least there's some good feelings to this team again. It doesn't feel like you've had in quite some time.
Yeah, if you're wondering if they quit or packed it in or gave
Right.
up on their coaching staff or anything like that, I don't see that at all.
No, I don't think so either. So that's the route to the postseason for the Red Raider baseball team. You can, I guess, magic number. Weird to say about just getting to the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah,
but
2.
It's 2.
Yeah.
You got to win 2 games in Cincinnati or have Arizona lose 1 or any combination. So
Yeah, they have to win 2 more
That's right.
games than you at this point.
2 more than you. And
Yeah, so
'cause
if
you're
you
up
get
by 1 and then you have
own the
tiebreaker.
tiebreaker. Yeah, so I mean, even if Tech got swept at Cincinnati, Arizona would have to win 2 out of 3 at Oklahoma State,
Correct.
which seems very unlikely.
What is
Yep. And then you also have the scenario of catching Kansas State.
Yeah,
Kansas State is 1 game ahead of you,
they've
and
played
you own the
poor.
tie. What's that?
And they've been playing pretty poor lately.
Yes, and they play at UCF this weekend,
Yeah. One of the
and
top teams in the league.
and you own the tiebreaker with Kansas State as well. You didn't play them this year. The
Yeah.
tiebreaker is what you did against the top teams.
Okay.
And so if you went Kansas, you took 2 out of 3.
All
They
right.
got swept. West Virginia, you got 1. They also got swept. Or I think, yeah, they got swept there.
I hate that we didn't get to enjoy that series against Kansas more. I mean, I enjoyed it, but right now they're what, the number 7 team in the country, something like that. They're a top 10 team.
They just got swept this weekend, though.
Okay, so they were before this week.
Yeah.
So going into this weekend, they were the number 7 team in the country, and
And do you remember me being frustrated about the way you won on Saturday?
I do remember that.
And then looking bad Sunday and people saying, "Come on, Jamie, you won a series, be happy about it." And I was, but you didn't play good
remember
baseball
this.
on Saturday.
No,
Yeah, you kind of lucked your way into that win, but man, it looked like a big one now.
It looks like a really big one now that you beat Kansas. Again, doesn't mean a lot. The K-State thing, it could factor into that. K-State has lost, I think, they won finally on Sunday.
I think they had lost like
8 of 9.
something like that. Maybe a 9
8
in a
straight,
row.
I think, or 9 straight, yeah.
Yeah, so I think
So
that
they-
broke a 9-game losing streak.
They've really been tanking in Big 12 play, worse than Tech. And if you get
gotta
tied
win.
with K-State,
You got to win one more game than K-State at
then
this
you'll
point.
have the 10 seed.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at, right?
But you're looking at all 3 of those
Or
teams.
11 seed.
Kansas State playing at UCF, really good team. Texas Tech playing at Cincinnati, really good, hot team in Cincinnati. And Arizona playing at Oklahoma State, really good, hot team, lot to play for. All 3 of those teams have a lot to play for. So all 3 of these teams at the bottom.
that are trying to get into the tournament.
Yeah, it's an uphill climb.
Yeah, I guess K-State could still find their way out of the tournament if Arizona swept
Yes,
and K-State got swept.
correct.
So there's that possibility. They've still got to win 1 to get in. But I think Tech, the best Tech can do is get into the 10 spot.
Yeah, because if
The
you
worst would be out of the Big 12
if you
tournament.
caught up with Baylor, they have the tiebreak.
Do you like the format of the
I
Big
love
12
it.
tournament?
I'm a huge fan of it.
Very unique.
I think it's great for the teams at the top that they don't have to, play 4 or 5 games the week before the postseason starts. I know you're not in that boat, but
man.
being on the other side of it, being in the boat that the Red Raiders are in, I like the fact that you're going there like, okay, we're not the team that's going to face off with the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
You get a chance to go win some
Get
games.
your feet wet a little bit.
Yeah.
I do think.
Now, does it make it extremely difficult for a team like Texas Tech to go
Sure
win
it
that
does.
thing? Absolutely.
It's
and you know
designed-
what? Those top 6 teams earned that spot.
It's designed to benefit those. In the
Yeah.
past, you didn't really have that benefit built in. I mean, I'm
I would have
kind of
loved it.
jealous of
Yes.
how the tournament format is now for some previous Red Raider teams you had.
Yeah.
But
But you wouldn't have that in an 8-team tournament
no,
like you used to have in the Big 12.
you wouldn't.
Yeah.
All right, y'all bring in your thoughts, comments, questions, whatever you may have. It's welcome on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Jamie brings us a question of his own coming up next.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
ever just have emails that will just never, that you hit the unsubscribe on and it just doesn't go away?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what that is for me? On my work email, TCU Athletics. I'm telling you, I bought tickets for my wife to go to a game one time in Fort Worth. And I've hit unsubscribe 50 times on them, and so I'm annoyed by TCU just by who they are, and also as
Chois Woodman,
as spam.
HFFL.
What is that?
Chois Woodman, HFFL.
Oh, that took me a little bit. No, I don't think so. I'm not for that.
Horned fraud for
I'm
life.
not about that action, boss. I will take the Waco moniker way more than anything TCU.
I'm with you.
I'm out on the purple. All right, let's get to Jamie's question.
Hey.
Time now for Jamie's question of the day on 100.7 The Score. Presented by Connecticut of West Texas. Life's hard, your water shouldn't be.
All right, Choice. Ben and our fine listening audience. I got two things for you to tell me which one you're more concerned with.
Oh, boy.
The Red Raider men's basketball team only adding 3 commits to the transfer portal at this point, or the Red Raider quarterback situation. Which causes you more concern right now?
I would say I keep thinking in the Grant McCasland we trust type of thing, because every time up to this point he's put together a darn good roster. Last year you obviously lose one of your best players, but tracking before that you would have been pretty easily a second weekend team, and who knows what if JT Toppin's healthy. The year, and I do remember there being angst in last offseason and the year before. I think Grant McCasland is very closed off compared to your football coach, and that probably has people more concerned.
You know, it's funny. Everybody says that, and that's totally accurate and true and all that. But it's not like Joey McGuire is running around before guys commit, telling everybody, "Hey, by the way, we're about to get a defensive end."
No, but I think you've got,
hey, by the way, wide receiver about to sign. It's not like he's doing that.
Fair, but I do think there's just more openness to the whole system in football.
I completely agree, but as far as the recruiting thing goes, we always mention this.
Fair enough.
We always mention this when it comes to, well, they just don't tell as much over there. Nobody tells about who they're about to sign through the transfer portal until they get here.
Fair. Anyway, even though I do still believe Grant McCasland's going to put together a good team, I'm more concerned there. And that's just because I believe the roster you have in football is going to win you a Big 12 championship. I think that, you may lose a game that you wouldn't have last year. Maybe that runs into it, just like you saw when your starting quarterback was out last year. Maybe you lose a game that you weren't supposed to lose. Maybe you have to fight and scratch a little bit more and not win everything by 20 points, 22 points like you did every game last season. But, my concern lies with basketball, because you have really 7 guys, and it's the only ones that are proven are guards. So your problem area was the bigs position last year, and it didn't feel like you got any better at that this offseason, or not much better, I guess, besides just getting a year older in a couple of cases. So, yes, more concern by a decent amount with basketball. Ben?
All right, so I find myself in a catch-22 as far as this question being asked, because I, for one, consider myself a Grant McCasland enthusiast. I say I'm the biggest believer in what he's meant to this program, what he can do for this program, because obviously we look at his track record. If you've been living under a rock and you look at his track record, just tournament appearance after tournament appearance after tournament appearance, especially inheriting a situation that he came in after all the Mark Adams fiasco and him really taking this basketball team by storm the way he has. And if Will Hammond does not tear his ACL, no doubt in my mind, that's who this team probably would have looked towards going into this season and not having to look into the portal for another quarterback. And you saw what Lloyd Jones did in the West Virginia game, making those connections, like with Micah Hudson, with all those younger guys that we may see more playing time with this year. With that being said, I would have to lean towards the basketball side in the sense of the portal acquisitions, portal activity or lack thereof, the aggression or lack thereof, as far as trying to go after and seek after what's out there, that, or you do have a name that you want to host for a visit, but you end up losing out and they commit elsewhere for whether it's NIL reasons, whether it's just overall relationships or whatever. Just the fact that there's a team that looks like the Arkansas game that only had a 6-man rotation last year, I would have to lean towards the basketball side as far as the deepest level of concern with Texas Tech programs so far.
Jamer?
All right, so I'll echo what you guys are saying in that, and I don't think anybody that's a Red Raider fan would disagree with Grant McCaslin deserves the benefit of the doubt.
Fair.
Right?
Yeah,
because of his track record.
Easily.
And I think that you guys and the way that you have expressed your answer to this are giving him the benefit of the doubt. But it comes a point where, and you kind of mentioned something, Choice, that really hits home with me. Where you're lacking, it's the hardest to find. They're going to be the least available. And that's bigs. And it feels like, in my opinion, it's going to be, you might get one or some that are good enough, but it doesn't feel like that's going to be a strong suit at this point. If you're adding bigs now, I just think that too many of the good ones are off the market. They're really hard to come by, and you've missed out. So that doesn't mean I don't think you're going to put a good roster together that's going to compete and be, one of the top 5 or 6 teams in the Big 12 Conference. I still think you have a great chance to do that. I just don't, at this point, with the additions being what they are, I don't think that you will be like the high ceiling team that you've had the last couple of seasons. And on the football side of things, you also touched on it, Choice, this roster. I just think that you have all the pieces in place to be a team that can survive with just solid quarterback play and not exceptional sort of quarterback play. And the schedule factors into that. The conference that you play in factors into that. So what I'm saying is I think you can win with Kirk Francis, with Will Hammond, even with Lloyd Jones playing quarterback for you. Is a high ceiling and a threat to win the national championship like you were with Brendan Sorsby? Probably not. But I still think you have a great chance to win the Big 12 championship and get to the college football playoff.
So we'll continue this conversation on the other side. As far as the specifics of basketball, what would it take to make that feeling turn around? There's a few players out there. I'll mention some names. If you just got one of these guys that have not committed, how much does that change your outlook for basketball and the portal additions in general?
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Glad to be part of your Monday afternoon. This is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score. 100.7 The Score mobile app. Choice, Jamie, and Ben all with you today. Keep your thoughts, your comments, your questions. I've got some names here. We'll see if any of these guys, if you landed any of these guys, would you feel better? Not feel better. Would you have a big turnaround on how you feel about the basketball season coming up? Because right now, you've got some really good guards. I think there's no question. You got a guy that led the Mountain West in scoring last year. You got a point guard that led Hofstra of all teams to the NCAA tournament, and he averaged over 20 a game. And you've got one of the top 30 high school players in the country coming in. So you got some good guards / small forwards, 1, 2s, and 3s, but the 4s and 5s are where you're lacking quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, this guy's still in the portal because he's got his name in the NBA draft at the moment. Milan Momcilovic from Iowa State. He's not even a big. He's a 6'8", small forward. How much different would you feel if you landed him?
Feel massive. Why would he do that?
Because right now he's only projected around the 30th pick in the NBA draft.
Why would he not go back to Iowa State?
I don't know, if someone else offered him more money, which is the whole reason he put his name in the portal. He could go back to Iowa State, or someone could say, hey.
How you doing?
Basically. There's also one of the best freshmen in the years, but he's on NBA draft boards, so he's probably not going to go. Alan Graves from Santa Clara, 6'9", averaged 11.8 points, 6.5 rebounds per game last year. Not doing a lot for you?
It's okay. Let me just say this about Momcilovic also. He's not really going to help you that much in the post.
No, it's not. I mean, you're getting a three-point shooter there.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great three-point shooter.
That would be not your Christian Anderson replacement. That would be your Donovan Atwell replacement, even though they're vastly different types of players. It's just that's your replacement for
three-point attempts.
Three-point attempts.
And a lot of makes.
Almost a recreation of Dirk there.
Dick. Okay, this exercise is not going as well as I hoped because I keep scrolling through these top 100 players, and most of them have committed to a place. What's going on with that? I thought I had seen a couple more, but nope. He's committed. Momcilovic is the number one player in the portal according to ESPN. So, yeah, I'd feel a little different. It's not going to solve your big problem, but you might be able to shoot teams out of the.
Yeah, it'd be a fun team to watch, that's for certain.
End of the gym.
I think it was Clint who was telling me one day that the fans at Iowa State call him Mommy.
Mommy!
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that.
I wouldn't go for that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody else. All right, I killed my whole idea here. There is one more that I saw. Jordan Burks. Jordan Burks. It's great. Doing well.
He'd be great for a football team too.
The 6'9" forward out of UCF. Averaged 13.3 points, 4.8 rebounds per game last season at UCF.
Could work with that. Mm-hmm.
If you land him, the hard part is the market has been so expensive on the bigs. So anybody else that's still really needing bigs like Texas Tech, you don't have much leverage there.
Yeah. Probably going to have to overpay.
Probably going to have to pay some good money. And that was part of the problem in the first place on why you didn't land some of these, reportedly.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Some of the price tags were outrageous for the bigs.
And they're getting it somewhere else, though?
Jop or from Arizona State, and the other one from, I can't always think, Mustafa from Cincinnati. These guys were demanding
where did they end up?
$3 to $5 million. Where did Jop end up? He was somewhere.
Man.
Where did he go?
Did we tell them that's like Brendan Sorsby?
Oh, Gonzaga. Jop went to Gonzaga. Yeah, I mean that's some big money that these. No pun intended. Sorry.
That's but if the market is there for it,
Right.
and because there's a limited supply of bigs,
That's capitalism 101 right there.
yeah, no doubt. But it is a little surprising to hear that we said, it will pass because of money.
I mean, but you may already have so much tied into other assets.
Including a young man who played awesome for you, but can't play for you for the first or 3 or 4 months of the season.
Right. Man, we're going to be a killer team once March rolls around. Can we get to the tournament? This one from the chat line. There's about a handful of bigs come available out of overseas after the overseas leagues finish up. I think you...
Okay, and the one that you're supposedly rumored to be close to is an overseas guy, right?
Momo Fayo, or however the heck you say his name. He's one that... Yes, he's an overseas guy. I think he spent four years playing pro ball overseas. Since
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
4 years playing
Pro ball?
professional.
And he's going to
ball.
play collegiate ball here.
Yeah, this is how this works. Have you not understood the NCAA? Well, I don't know. Like,
He's an amateur?
didn't David Amoretti
Amateur?
play pro ball before? But he didn't take money or something like that? Played in the
don't
pro
know.
league? I don't know how all this works.
He didn't inhale?
Yeah, that's basically didn't it? I don't know.
I can't.
I don't know how all this.
I can't. When you start talking these things about what's legal and not legal,
I don't
I just
know myself,
can't,
man.
I can't take any of it serious.
I think he played in professional leagues for 4 years. I don't think I'm wrong on that.
Bit of a giggle fest for me.
Momo Fayo or
That's totally a made up name.
It's Momofaye, but I can't. Someone told me Faye is not how you said it, so I've already forgotten the correct. I don't think it's Fayo either because there's no O in there. Oh boy, howdy. Anyway, so yeah, you're in the mix with him, but that might be where you're really hunting, is trying to go get guys. I know Tech offered a 2026 high school guy over the weekend.
Okay.
So this is kind of a back end.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we need some roster fillers type. I can't remember where he was out of the Metroplex or something.
Mm-hmm.
This has been the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 100-7thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.